Okay, welcome to Tuesday. As a bit of an overview, we're still in place value. Hopefully you've looked at the welcome and syllabus in our Moodle site. And in place value, you can look at the textbooks and the whiteboard. You can look at video recordings, both from last week and on YouTube. There's good ones. There's no worksheets for this first topic. And once you've had enough practice, remember most of your practice comes from the textbook, then you can do these 3 My Open Math assignments and show off that you are doing good stuff and know all of the math. So I prepared the rounding and estimating. We'll get to that, maybe not today, but this week. Same thing, we start with textbooks, then there's videos, individual videos, and a couple playlists, if that helps you. There's no class videos for this topic yet, because we haven't talked about it in class, but they will go on top when we get them. There is a worksheet to look at. There's nothing homework-wise to do with this worksheet, but some students really like it. So let me just show you real quick what it's about. It's a 2-page thing. On one page, there's a summary with example problems. Since it's just a summary of the topic, then it might not be as useful at the beginning, but once you've done a little bit more, it's kind of nice to have a bunch of things in one place. And then there's some problems to work on. Unfortunately, the problems to work on don't have an answer key. So that's not terribly helpful. But you could always do the work, take a picture of it, or if you're in person, bring it to me, and then we can go over it. So just this style some people like. At one point I was teaching Math B an earlier term, and I stopped printing out a few copies for the in-person students, and they scolded me. We like that, you need to keep printing them.
Do you have a spare copy on hand by the chance, by the way? A spare copy of that paper?
Let me see if I can find where I put them. And if not, I can print up a few more. Okay, and then the last thing again is homework, this time just one thing, because there's not the how to put your answers into My Open Math. And we could even keep going. The addition and subtraction is again formatted the same way. There's the books and the whiteboard, the videos. This one I've separated them out because the YouTubers have sometimes addition and subtraction separately and sometimes mixed up together. Again, a worksheet. And then My Open Math has 2 assignments for this third topic, addition and subtraction separately. Please don't scroll down below that. I haven't done anything yet with the multiplication and division. If you click on that, it's messy, doesn't look right. But if you want to get ahead of it, you can. But we are still in place value and finishing that up. I've put a link in chat, but I will do it again of where we are here.
Is it place value 1 or 2?
And that will bring you in and you can look at this. I'm going to zoom out for a moment. So we last week did 6 different to-doodles about place value. And now we're on number 7. And that's the last one for place value. Then we'll move on to rounding. Whoops, I'm not sure why that stuff is there. Oh, well, I'll clean that up later. So rounding has a bunch of things, and then we'll get to addition and subtraction after that. So there's lots of these, we will take our time. But we're on now, and there's always starting with a warm-up problem. Here's where we are.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
It's me, Kimberly. So I'm already ahead of all of this. Like I've already done half the homework for the subtractions and additions and all that. Now I know it's good for me to be in this class and to be a part of all this, but I don't know exactly how to go about that because I mean, I could even go further, but you haven't done those yet. So I just need to participate. Is that what I need to do?
Let me turn off the recording since we're sort of doing, or pause the recording and then. Okay, so let's do our warm up, and if you can join this, then I will bring everyone to me. So we're all looking at the same one. There's no cute picture for this warm up, although we can draw things if it helps. There are two siblings that have animal stickers, and they each have the same total number of stickers. One of them has 3 full sheets, but we don't know how much is on a full sheet of sticker, and then 4 loose stickers beside that. The other sibling has 2 full sheets and 12 loose stickers. So how many stickers are there in a full sheet if that's always the same? How would you go about doing this? I'm happy to draw or manipulate the whiteboard for you if you want to just tell me how to be your secretary.
But yeah, that'd be nice if you could draw out the problem on there too.
Tell me what to draw.
Word format, I like the Word format too, please.
Oops, not sure what that is. Okay. Well, I could say that. Screen is. So Brody has 3 full sheets, whatever that is. And then 4 others. And Sadie, who I'm guessing is the sister then, has only 2 of these. But they're the same size, and she has 12 others.
So that's groupings. Size.
Does that help you think about it to see it with the picture?
It helps a lot.
Okay,
Thanks. And the question is, how much are there total?
how much is on a sheet? So is each sheet maybe 6 stickers? Or 7 or 12? How do we know how many is on a sheet?
Okay. Raise my hand.
Yeah,
Circle one of them, I think. The red ones, they're 12.
red ones are 12. If that's true, then it should be that these 12 here make one more sheet. Does that make sense? Because there's 12 of them right here. And that would mean that she has 3 full sheets and no more, and he has 3 sheets and 4 extra. So they're not gonna come out the same.
That's already the colors. Are we adding both colors up?
No, we know that the total amount of stickers is the same. So Brody with red has, let's pretend it's 6. So he has 6, 6, 6, and 4. 6 times 3 is 18, so that would be 22. If it is 6 for the answer, then she has 6, 6, and 12. And no, that makes a different number, so that's not it. Does that make sense as an example?
Not.
No, so those boxes have so many stickers on them, we're not sure how many. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's more than that. So if this sticker sheet had 4 stickers on all of them, then we'd have 4 and 4 and 4. And oops, there was supposed to be one more here, but someone moved it. Okay. And 4. So that would be 4 fours is 16 total, something like that. Someone is saying 8. Who wrote 8? And talk out loud so we know how you got 8.
That was me.
Okay, how did you get 8, Kim?
I don't know. I figured it out. It really because there's 4 left over and there's 12 on. You have to subtract the 4 from the 12. That's how I did it.
So I could do it as a picture that if I move 4 or 12 loose stickers over there, that means these 4 need to fill up a sheet. Because then 4 extra that her brother has matches with the 4 loose ones here. So that must mean each sheet actually has 8 instead of some other number.
Yeah, babe.
It feels really good to get simple questions right sometimes.
I didn't even read
It is kind of confusing the way it is.
It
The
is.
way this keeps on making more things on there makes it more confusing to me.
Yeah, you have to
She's
sort of.
even like nodding her head like, yeah, it's maybe.
I would get a piece of paper and do it, babe.
Yeah.
So when you look at this problem, you have to be able to see the picture of the sticker sheet, either that I drew or in your mind. And picture that this could be any number. It could be a 4, it could be a 6, it could be an 8, it could be a 12. But whatever it is, I have to be consistent. If it starts out as 8, it should stay 8 for all of them. So, and then you see what works. So this is a good warm up for later thinking about algebra.
Where's the key objective? Instead of just drawing more problems, draw in like the more objectified way.
Mhm.
You're only confusing me when you do that.
Okay, well, let's do something simpler. So here's a game.
Be more specific and confusing.
It's exercising your brain. It's okay to be confused.
Yes, but we're here to try to learn and not be confused.
Sometimes being confused is the first step, Mark.
If I've been confused this whole time,
Yeah.
I haven't been learning.
No.
Sweetheart, I'm also 42 years old, so I should get that right. You're young, you're fine.
Okay, well, let's keep going and do something simpler.
Yes, you like.
So here's a game. We did a game with a secret strategy, that one with poison that you were trying to not take the last object last Thursday. So this one also has a secret strategy, but it's a different kind. So we're trying to get 3 numbers that add up to 15. When you play it, you might claim more than 3 numbers, and that's fine. But you only get to use 3 at a time when you're trying to win. If you have 4, you have to leave one off on the side, basically. That makes sense?
So it's another.
3 numbers at a time. It's only a 2-player game.
Is there another poison game or?
It's not like poison at all. It often ends in ties. And you have a choice of 9 things to choose. So here's the game. And why don't we just play it with the people in the room versus the people. We haven't done that yet. So I'll have green be the zoomies. And blue be the roomies. Okay. You're going to take turns claiming a number. And you can't claim one that's already been claimed. And you want to get 3 numbers that add up to 15. And if all the numbers get claimed without anyone winning, then it's a tie. So To make it so you don't have to draw with anything, you have these markers, so the zoomies can just say, we want to claim 1, or we want to claim 3, or things like that. But I'm gonna have them go first, Kevin, so move the blue one back. So zoomies, talk together, one of you use your mouse, I can pull everyone to this screen. And figure out which number 1 through 9 you want to claim with your first little token.
4.
I'll do 5.
You have to agree on 1, you're all one team.
Well, we can do 5, that's fine.
5, okay, so move a green marker to 5, somebody. At all, so you're part way to 15. Okay, the people here in the room, you can join them. So you need to pick a number and 5's been claimed, so you can't do 5, but any other number. Agree on which one to do.
2.
2 sound good? Okay, 2 it is, so can you move that to 2, Gavin? Or if you like 3 better, tell them why and convince them. Okay, back to the zoomies, you get a second number.
What about 3?
Yeah, I agree.
So 5 and 3 is 8. If the zoomies get 7, they will add up to 15. So the roomies, you need to block them so they don't get 15. Yeah, not much choice, you have to block them or they'll win, so.
I was waiting for someone else to do the fun instead.
Okay.
Choose fun instead.
Back to the zoomies, you can now pick any number you want for another green tile. And you're not gonna win with only 3, so sort of plan that you're gonna have more than 3
What about
markers, but you'll use just 3 of them.
What about 9?
9, yeah.
Okay, 9 is good. Okay, roomies, you need to block them, can you win?
I say 6.
Oh, no.
What do they have?
6 will get you to 15.
They have 7 and 2. Oh, yeah.
I think Chloe's right, if you claim 6.
Right. Oh, no.
The zoomies should have blocked you last turn. so-
Yeah, we should have.
Okay, everyone see how that game works?
Yeah.
So we're not going to actually play it more, you can always play it later, I'm gonna show you the secret strategy. What game does this remind you of? Does it remind you of any games that almost everyone knows?
Poison?
Yeah. 21.
And then 21, you're not trying to pick 3 things that fit together.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Poison, you're trying to avoid something, not collect something.
Right. Oh, cribbage. No. I don't know.
Backgammon?
No.
Backgammon is a great game, but it's very luck based, you're rolling dice. This game had no luck at all.
Players dice?
10,000?
I don't know that one.
You should. It's really fun.
Okay, I will just reveal the answer. So there's a shape, then down here is called a magic square. And it's where you arrange numbers so that every way you add is the same. So 8 and 1 and 6 adds up to 15. Come on, thing. Oh, there, okay. So 8 and 1 and 6 is 15, right? or 3, 5, and 7 is 15, or 4, 5, and 6 is 15, and so on. So you can take the numbers 1 through 9 and make a magic square where all the different lines add up to 15. So we were actually playing tic-tac-toe. So if you're practiced at this, you can imagine the magic square in your head, like 5 is in the middle and these are the corners. And you can win this a lot when you're trying to play it with your friends and family members because they don't know they're playing tic-tac-toe and you do. So there we go. It's actually true, by the way, that you could arrange the numbers 1 through 9 to make different magic squares, but all the magic squares that add up to 15 are actually just reflections or rotations of each other. They're not actually as different as you might imagine. So if you want to feel like a mathematician, you can watch this YouTube video on your own time, and it uses some pretty advanced thinking. But if you can follow along, then great. Maybe it's not the kind of logic proof that you would come up with yourself, but being able to follow what other people do is still a great skill and helps you feel smart. So if you want to, there we go. Okay, that is the end of the place value. So now we're going to go back and start rounding. And we're going to start by just rounding one number as the beginning of that. So officially now we're starting the rounding and estimating topic. And that means that I will put today's recording in the rounding and estimating video page because most of our 2 hours will be spent on rounding and estimating. Okay, this warm-up thinking, I was hoping to get to on a Thursday. This is one of the trickier ones this term. I think I'm gonna skip this one. I don't want us to spend too much time. We did a warm-up just a few minutes ago. Okay, let's talk about rounding. So rounding is important because we don't want to exaggerate our accuracy. And the most common way to get fake accuracy is if we divide. So if I do 100 divided by 7, then that just goes on and on and on and on. Right? The decimal point keeps going. That doesn't mean I've measured something with all of that accuracy. In fact, I really can't think of anything I do in real life where I can measure it to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal points of accuracy. That would be kind of ridiculous. In real life, I round based on what I'm doing. So with, whoops, what did I do? Come back. Sorry about that. Okay, so if I was putting candies into a party favor bag, then I would round to the nearest whole number. I would say I have 100 candies and I'm trying to put them in 7 party favors bag. Maybe my kid has 6 friends coming for a party. Then I would put 14 in each. That's the 14 here. And then the rest, I would just eat those candies because I'm the grown-up and I don't want the kids to fight over parts of candy or make a mess. As something with a little bit more accuracy, if I was doing some woodworking, then I had a 100-inch board and I'm cutting it into 7 pieces. That's the 100 divided by 7. Then I could probably measure to 14.2, measure tenths of an inch with my saw. I don't have some fancy table saw with laser guidance that would let me get more accurate. I don't think I can accurately measure the hundredths of an inch.
That's pretty expensive material.
Yeah. So I think just tenths of an inch would make sense. So I would write 14.2 and round it there. I'd actually want to round up and make it 14.3, but we'll get to that in a moment. We haven't really talked about how to round yet. Maybe I was a pharmacist and I had a fancy scale and it could measure to the thousandths of a gram. Then if I was dividing 100 grams of medicine into 7 doses, then I could do tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and do that. So in real life, we don't have to worry how much to round. The practical type of measuring we do will tell us how much accuracy we can have and not be exaggerating it. But we need some general rule for a math class because some problems just have that. We'll get to that. Rounding also happens rounding like that happens at the end of a math problem. I've done my math and I have too many decimal places. And in order to not brag and exaggerate how accurate my answer is, I have to chop off some of those decimal places. But a very different thing is estimating, which is when we round at the beginning of a math problem. And estimating happens because we don't know some answers. So if I'm trying to drive from Seattle to San Diego, this one, then I have some unreliable numbers. I don't know exactly what mileage my car will get. It depends on driving conditions and traffic and going up or down hills or so on. I don't know the cost of gasoline. I could look it up today, but if I'm doing a 2 or 3 day trip, it might change while I'm driving in different towns and so on. So whenever you are trying to do math, but don't actually know the numbers, you have to estimate. And that's another thing that's like rounding. Don't use the words rounding and estimating interchangeably because they're different. Estimating you do before you start the problem. Rounding you usually do at the end of the problem. Okay, now we're just gonna review the rules of rounding. So I will pull everyone towards me. And the red numbers up at the top of the number line, you can move. So we can say 1 is 1 closer to 0 or 10, 1 is definitely closer to 0. So I'm gonna put it in the basket on that side. And other people can use their mice, grab these numbers, the red ones on top or the blue ones down below, and round either the numbers 1 to 9 to the nearest 10, or round the numbers 210 to 288 to the nearest 100. We can talk about things as we go. So 288, which is over here, is a lot closer to 300 than it was to 200. Everyone happy with that one?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else grab a number, 275. Which side is that closer to? And the 300. Does it help to see it visually with the number lines?
Yeah.
So 4 is closer to 0. It's on the left side. 6 is on the right side. It's closer to 10. What about 5 though? It's right in the middle. There's no right answer.
I will say it's close to 10.
Yes, that's the official answer. But realize that that's the official answer because somebody just said it was true generations ago. When we're rounding, we need to know what to do with a number right in the middle. And it's right in the middle. We could have picked either, but we don't get to pick because it's been established before us. We have to follow the rules. So the rule is that if it's right in the middle, you make it bigger. So 5s round up to 10. The same thing happens with 250. It's right in the middle between 200 and 300. So where do we put it? Yeah, it goes up because it's in the middle. And again, realize that that's not like a law of nature. That's just something somebody decided for us. So we'll do more rounding now, but keep the number line in mind if it helps you to be thinking about not just some abstract thing. Does this number round up or stay the same? But on a number line, is it closer to one side or the other? So if you don't have some real life context about how to round, there's nothing about carpentry or party favor bags to tell you. Often math books are lazy and they just give you numbers and say round them, and they don't tell you the situation. Then the rule is to round things to the same accuracy as what you started at. So if you're talking about cars that drive 30 miles an hour and a trip that's 5 hours long, and you're trying to wonder about how many miles you go, if everything is rounded to the nearest whole number, then your answer should also be rounded to the whole number. Whereas if they said your car gets 30.5 miles an hour and the trip is 4.2 hours, now they're giving you numbers to the 10th. So you should have your answer to the 10th to match that. So that's the general rule to make textbooks happy. How you round, I like to imagine this green shape. That if we're supposed to round to a certain thing, so these are all house prices, and the textbook has asked us to round to the nearest $1,000. So I'm going to take my green shape and put the underline under the thousands. Then I look at the next number and I say, where is it on that number line we just saw? Is it closer to 0 or closer to 10? And if it's a 5, we go up also. So in this case, the 2 is small, so we're just going to round this to 145,000. All of these digits just sort of go away. 250 is closer to 1,000. I'm sorry, closer to 0 than another 1,000. Let me say that again. 250 is closer to 0 than a whole 1,000. So we don't get to add a whole nother 1,000 to this. Let's do the next one. How would we round that home price to the nearest 1,000?
Zero.
Yeah, 337 is also closer to 0 than a whole nother 1,000. So the 6 doesn't change. And those all become zeros. Okay, let me do this one next. How do we round that 8?
Tenth.
Yeah, 9 is pretty big. So this 9 in the box is going to make the 8 go up. It's 5 or more. So now the 8 becomes a 9.
Yeah.
It goes up. And then we change things to 0. So in other words, we had $905, and that's almost another 1,000. So we just put in another 1,000. Those are pretty close to each other. How about this one?
To 6. I mean, to
The 5 is big, so it's going to make the 0 go up.
11.
So it just becomes, yeah, the 0 changes to a 1, so we just get 411,000. Everyone okay with all of those?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, now we do this one. This is another argument. You could argue 2 different ways and they both kind of make sense. You could say this 4 is small, 5 or more, so the 2 stays the same. Or you could say, wait a minute, this 9 could make the 4 into a 5, and then the 5 could make the 2 into a 3 in a chain reaction. And that kind of makes sense also. So we have to decide, or again, like before, somebody in a previous generation has to decide, do you get to have chain reactions? And the decision is no.
Yeah.
So even though that 4 looks like it's so close to being a 5, it's not a 5, and we don't round up with the 2. Okay, last one. Let me scroll a little so it's not covered. Okay. So does that 0 do anything to a 5?
No.
0 is small, the 5 is the same. Okay, was that enough of a review of rounding?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So you have lots of tools to think about rounding. When you heft something in your hands, how accurate is that? Is that 1 pound, 10 pounds, a tenth of a pound? How accurate are we when we're just judging how much things weigh?
Estimating. No?
If I give you a backpack, can you tell if it is 13 or 18 pounds?
You can estimate it.
You can estimate it, yeah. How would we round it? Would we round things to the nearest 1 pound or 10 pound or
1 pound.
1 pound? Certainly, if you had some 1 pound weights, then you can measure, be like a balance scale. I can tell the difference between a 1 pound and a 2 pound weight.
Yes. Yes, okay, that's why I was saying that.
How about when you're looking at things distance in the same room? So the griddle over there to make pancakes, we want them, then is that what, 8 feet away, 9 feet away, 10 feet away? I'm not very good at that. But I certainly know some people that are better at it. So certainly it's not 10 feet. I don't have to just pick 10 or 20 or 30. I can be a little more accurate than that.
I'll probably go with feet.
Walking or jogging or running, can you judge your speed to the nearest mile an hour, or tenth of a mile per hour, or part of a mile per hour?
Mm-hmm.
Which one makes sense?
Mile per hour.
Mile per hour? I think if I bicycled more, I could tell if I was biking at 6.5 or 7 miles an hour, but my bike doesn't have a speedometer and I'm not used to making that judgment, but it wouldn't surprise me if other people did. But for me, 1 mile per hour would be right. How about when you use a ruler or a tape measure? How accurate can you be? Foot, 10 feet, tenth of a foot, hundredth of a foot?
Probably centimeters.
Yeah, you can cheat and use centimeters or even millimeters. How about temperature? Can you tell temperatures to the nearest 1 degree or 10 degree or tenth of a degree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, about, for me, it's actually like 4 degrees. Like if a room goes from 64 to 68, I notice, but if it's 64 to 60, I don't.
No, Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit. So interesting things to think about. We do lots of estimating. Okay, good job. Do you want another warm up or do you want to just keep going with the real math?
Real math.
Real math? This is a fun one to do with kids. So you take your name and make little sticky notes or pieces of paper at home. And how many different shapes can you make with the letters of your name? But if we're ready to keep going, we can. Okay, more about rounding. So now we've reviewed the basics. Rounding gets rid of fake extra accuracy, usually from division. We know how to round, and we know that in real life we do it because we're estimating and we know how accurately we can estimate, or because we have some sort of measurement tool that has a certain accuracy. If there's no other guidance, use the same number of place value digits as the numbers that were given to you in the word problem. So let's do a few more issues. So this basket has a whole bunch of things in it, and we're gonna drag them out and put them on the side. So the first one that I'll grab is people who have won more than $1. Oh, that should say or more in a lottery. How many people do you think have won $1 or more in a lottery? Is it 1 million of them, 100,000 of them, 1,000? I don't know the answer to all of these off the top of my head. Any ideas?
I will say millions.
I say millions, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Unless everyone who plays the lottery a lot will win at least $1 sometime or another.
Yeah.
Okay, let's grab another. Cost to fill a family car's gas tank. Do we talk about tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars?
Thousands, no hundreds.
You have a very big gas tank, it would cost thousands.
Depend if we use electrical now.
Well, it used to be hundreds, now it's thousands.
Probably tens, unless you have an RV or something, and then it might be hundreds of dollars. If I can think. So we can pull out more of these if you want. They're good for discussion. I'm gonna save them for a little later. We can come back to this slide if we want. Okay, these are the ones that I want you to do more. So are these, grab something from up here, and do these things always involve rounding or never or sometimes? See what Betty grabs.
Car accidents per year.
Car accidents per year, is that something that newspapers and people tend to round?
Mm.
Estimate
Yeah.
So,
statistically.
whoops. Let's put this back, and I should lock it so it doesn't move. 1 moment.
Isn't
Lock
that
it.
a statistic?
So car accident per year, Betty put sometimes, maybe if like how many accidents happen on Willamette Street, we wouldn't round that, but in all of Eugene, we would or something. Well, annual deaths from sharks. Doesn't involve rounding, sometimes. And I think not. If you look at how many people actually get killed by sharks, it's usually less than 10 a year in most countries, so too small for rounding. Okay, let's do one more. Somebody grab another thing.
I think that's too much, too little of people. I am scared to death of the ocean. You should not swim in that. That's crazy.
Mileage. Yeah, sometimes we generally know what our car mileage is, but if you're going up hills a lot, it goes down. If you're on the freeway all the time, it goes up. Vacations per year, I sure wanna count all my vacations, I'm not round them, it would be nice if I took enough to round up, I don't get 6 vacations a year. By the way, if you're worried about sharks, then this link here tells you all sorts of death rates for things. So only 1 per year in the US for sharks. So you can look at those if you want. Okay, I'm gonna move on, but this is just to get us thinking about estimating.
Well,
Pages,
they're not that hungry. They're obviously getting fed well. That's a good sign.
okay, I'm gonna move on. So here's an important detail. Sometimes a situation tells us how to round and it breaks the normal rules. For example, if I am a store manager and I'm wondering about how much profit I need to be in the black to be positive for the year. Should I round my prices up or down? If I round my prices up, then I think I've sold more than I have. And if I think I've sold more than I have, I might be going bankrupt and not know it. So I need to round my prices down just to be safe. If something costs $14.50, and for some reason I'm rounding, I'll say it's $14. And maybe I'll just leave off all the decimal costs and just round all things down to the nearest dollar. That way I have to work a little harder, make sure that I'm not going bankrupt. How about an elevator's weight limit? Yeah, that one we should round up. Why?
Just in case the hydraulics can't take it.
Yeah, if we round down and one more person tries to squeeze in because we rounded, then they think it's okay. But,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's how casualties happen.
how about
And
I'm
that's,
trying,
and it's human life. It's like somebody could die if it's like, you know, what I mean,
Yeah, casualties.
yeah, we don't want to.
casualties, yeah.
How about buying pain? Less severe than dying in an elevator, but should I round my number of paint cans up or down?
Up.
If I don't buy enough paint cans, then it's really awkward. My room doesn't finish getting painted. If I buy an extra paint can, then at least I can know I have enough, and if I have half a paint can left over, I can touch up the walls later when. Okay, so you can think about the others, but just the awareness that some tasks say ignore the normal rounding rules.
Ready, your groceries and, yeah, is it ready?
Okay, when else haven't talked about, do you use rounding in real life?
There was 2 more questions.
Yeah, I'm skipping over them though. The point was that some situations ask you to round a certain way, even though there's an official rule about 5 or more means up and so on. So sometimes we don't follow the rules, that's just how things
Yeah,
work.
I'm trying to learn, you should be objective and try to help with that, instead of just moving on, making sure I fail.
Well, I've made the point, I need to cover enough material by the end of the term too, so.
Yeah.
Some of this is that you can talk about it with other people outside of class. And I'm rounding up on how much to put on my whiteboards, so that there's always enough.
Because we're just another number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people are not, but. Whiteboard productivity is unfortunately just another number, too much of it of my life, okay.
And you should be rounding how much you speak instead of,
Some things are more you do stuff, some are more I lecture, that is true, I try and mix it up.
well, you don't do a good job of mixing and still getting good results. Yeah.
Okay, other times you round, I wanna hear you, because I am talking too much.
And that is an opinion, by the way.
There's also some research, I mean, yeah,
I don't know what he just said, that's an opinion.
that's,
Yes, but there's also research on it, like you said. Kim.
other times you round,
When you go out to eat and you go to pay.
yeah. Everyone always asks me, since I'm a math person, like, how much should we tip? Except now we all have calculators, but that used to be a thing that, like, it was my job to figure out the tip, so you just round up. And then finding 15% is easier. Can I do 15% of $12.56 in my head? No, can I do 15% of $13? That's an easier problem, because it has all the zeros. What else? Screen time. I have to make sure my kids don't spend too much time staring at screens. Do I know exactly how much screen time they have each week? No, but I try and keep a rough sense of it. Send them out in the backyard if it seems like it's too much.
When you're cooking also, if you don't have measuring cups or whatever.
And when you're grocery shopping.
Grocery shopping's another big one. I'm pretty right on that one. That's a skill.
Okay. Now it is almost time to have a break because it's 6:54, but bingo is fun. This is one of my favorite warm-up challenges. Let's save it for when we get back from break. If you write out the numbers 1 to 100, how many ones do you actually write, and so on. But first, let's play bingo. And then we'll take a break. We have 2 bingo games. Here's bingo number 1, and there's bingo number 2. And to play this, actually, let's set this up and then we'll play it after break because some people might take more time. So what you're going to want to do is click on where it says 10C at the top. See how that highlights the whole frame? And then I'll do Control-C, and then I'm gonna come off to the side. And, oops, someone already made a copy of that. Don't need that. Okay, and then I will hit paste, and here this can be my bingo board, so I will rename it David. So you can make your own bingo board off here in the margin. You can even copy mine if you want. Once you have your own, then zoom in, and you're going to take all these numbers and kind of rearrange them wherever you want. So your bingo board doesn't look like mine. Does that make sense? Because if yours looks just like mine, we're gonna get bingo at the same time. So take this pile of numbers and spread them out in some place that doesn't match mine. If you want to just click on mine here and go copy and then paste, somebody can have this one, just edit it. Your name is on top. So on. So make some bingo boards, use the bathroom, deal with kids, get some food, things like that, and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, I will pause the recording and resume. Okay, we're back from break playing bingo. Go ahead, Betty, we need more numbers. 44, how do we round that to the nearest 10?
50.
40.
40 or 50, which one is it? I hear both.
40.
40 now.
40, 4 goes down. The ones column 4 is not big enough to make the tens column 4 go up. 45 would round up to 50, but 44 goes down. That's why I'm retracting. Lots of bingo. Okay, I'm gonna keep it where I can see what I'm doing.
Just wanted a chance to try to answer.
X.
Yeah, sure, you can set the pace. 133.
130.
130. Anyone have bingo?
Nikki almost.
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 Almost. Okay, keep going, Betty, then.
Okay. 22.
27.
Oh, 227.
So is that going to be 220 or 230?
230.
30. Oh, so many. I should put a check mark on free. That was a good idea, that is. $145. What does that round to the nearest 10?
150.
50. The 5 makes the 4 go up. 164. How does that round?
160.
160.
$190.
119. How does that one round to the nearest 10?
120.
20. Oh, I'm getting close with the diagonal. No one has bingo yet?
No.
You're all equally unlucky. Okay.
2.
1, 2,
20.
20.
$200.
200. That one already is a count by 10 number.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Bingo, yay!
Yay.
Good. Where are you, bingo? I'll write it on with my marker. Diagonal there. Okay. Oops.
Nice.
Okay.
Do you want me to continue?
Now let's play it on hard mode. So this bingo game, the blue numbers that I had created made sure that every number on the bingo board had one thing that rounded to it. Or was a start with. So the other thing we can do, if you want to play again, is I'm gonna move this back. Okay, bingo from 3 dice. So now there's no pile of blue numbers at the top. Instead, there's 3 10-sided dice, and I could go to a website and say, I want to roll 3 10-sided dice. But I happen to have 3 10-sided dice with me that Chloe can roll because she's bored. So in this case, we're going to again move numbers to make a bingo board if you want to do this again. But the rule is that we're going to claim the nearest, now round to the nearest 100, not 10, just to have variety. And we're going to pick the closest number. And there might be multiple copies of the same number on the bingo board. You might have 2 300s, for example. And then if something rounds to 300, you would pick one of them. You don't get both. But maybe both of your 300s are already covered. And then someone rolls 301. Then we have to figure out what's closest for that. So you can cover the next thing. Would 301 be closer to 200 or 400? 300s are already covered. Does that make sense? When we're just rolling random numbers with dice, then we are not sure that everything is going to be an uncovered number.
Figure it out yourself like a map.
Yeah. Do you want to try that? Do you want to try the harder bingo?
Please.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a bunch of copies of this, so we're not all confused. I'm gonna go over now the left side of things and put it there. So grab one of these, put your name on it, move the green numbers to make your bingo board. And it might help if you click on your bingo board and see the little lock symbol. That will keep you from rearranging your bingo board when you want to move numbers onto it. So I'm gonna grab this one in the middle before else does. And I will lock my bingo board. Whoops, I don't want to grow a check mark. I'll put a check mark on 3. Is there anyone who wants me to summon their arrow to me so they can get here, or did you all scroll sideways good enough? A bunch of you are here. I'm gonna be rude and call everyone towards me. Okay, now you can scroll and move yourself how you want.
Just choose one that doesn't.
Yeah, choose one that hasn't been renamed yet, and you rename them by double clicking at the top there. Okay.
She's not.
She's not added to the course. Well, she can still come here. Let me just send her an email then. One moment, while I.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
We're setting up the numbers again?
Yeah.
Okay, send yourself an email and move on that. Send. Okay.
Aquí tengo, mijo, tengo.
Put on the side and then down. You use your other mouse button to scroll and your wheel to zoom. So zoom way out so you can see where everyone is. That's. You want to come over here on this side. And down. Square down over here. And everyone's way down there. Way over here, and then so it looks like no one has this one. You can just put your name on it. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out and just look around, see how people are doing. Fine, okay. Radical most.
I have a question. They're all zeros on my board.
They should be counting by hundreds.
No, it's just 000 that I keep dragging off the pile.
Typing it down, and then use your other mouse button to slide to the side. Oops. It's not this mouse button. Okay. Undo that. lock that so it doesn't go. So this button over here that you don't normally click with, when you fold it down, that's what lets you move things around. You're welcome. Okay, I think Emily can catch up, because she didn't have to move numbers. So go ahead, Chloe, roll our first, just think to yourself, which is hundreds and tens and ones and be consistent. I'm gonna write down the numbers that Chloe rolls, just so if we have, someone has to step aside, or kids or something, then we can see what the numbers are. Okay, our first number is
716.
716. So how is that one going to round to the nearest hundred?
700.
700. 16 isn't big enough to be close to 800. So copy and paste a check mark,
How do you copy and paste that?
Control C and Control V. And cover, you should have two 700s, so pick one of them to cover. What's the next number?
348.
348. How would that round? To the nearest hundred.
300.
300. So the 4 isn't big enough to make the 3 go up.
I cannot copy my check mark.
You can't, do you want me to make a bunch of check marks for you?
Yes, please.
Where is yours? Up here?
Yes, here.
I'm just gonna say paste, and make all of those.
I couldn't either, so I just been like putting a little pin mark on mine. Is that okay?
Sure, whatever, you can use post-it notes, there we go,
Thank you.
no problem.
And you said the first one was 700?
700 and 300 are the things we've done so far.
Okay. 300.
76.
276. Is the 7 big enough to make the 2 go up to 3?
Yes.
Yes, 276 is closer to 300 than 200. If you had $2.76, you're most of the way to $3. Lots of different ways to think about it. Okay, 300, there we go.
$810.
How does that one round?
To 800?
800, right? The 10 isn't as big a deal as the 800.
$770.
770.
800.
800 again.
$718. 700. $471.
400, how would that one round? 500, yes. Everyone happy with the rounding? We're all busy copying and moving and not talking, but if you have questions about the rounding, ask.
Well, it's not like you're telling us to raise our hands already. 552.
552.
600.
518.
Anyone have bingo yet?
279.
200, this one is going to be interesting. So 279 to the nearest 100 would be 300, but we already have 300 happening twice. There's no more 300s on our board. So what number that's not claimed yet on our boards is closest to 279?
200.
So it's 79 away from 200. It's more than that away from 400. So yeah, it's going to be 200. So we're going to use 200 just because we're playing the game, even though that's not how it rounds. Does that make sense? That's the one that it's closest to.
And I think I win
Okay,
right here.
yay. So that's the most fun I can think of for practicing rounding. That should, by the way, be enough that if you go to rounding and look at the textbooks, they will make sense to you. And when you go to the My Open Math, then you can start the homework. Have you seen, Emily, the textbooks yet?
No.
No, okay, so when you go to the books and boards, there's two textbooks there. The one that's labeled OpenStax is a free textbook. And it's not that great. It's not bad, there's just nothing really to write home about. The one that's called XYZ, when I open that one, it's a wonderful textbook because every example problem has two buttons next to it. One of them has people doing that as a video, at least once in Spanish. And then the other one is, I think I understand, give me a problem and did I do this right? No, I did it wrong, right? You can check your answer and see if you understand things. So that's great, the example problems are there. And that's why I mentioned earlier that the My Open Math homework, that's like the icing on the cake. That's to prove that you really got it. But you don't start there. You start with homework by trying to do things similar to example problems. Because that's convenient and gives you good feedback. So if you go past chapter 1 and try and look at a different chapter, then it's going to ask you to log in. And there's a code we're all using together that I got from the publisher. So I will send you another email if you're new to the class with that. Okay, back here. So great job, we've played bingo twice. And then the last two pages said, what about if you use 6-sided dice? How would that do things? What 24 starting numbers would you use? And then if you want some optional stuff to do at home, maybe you have 6-sided dice, but not 10-sided dice at home. And you could make up the bingo game that you invented and play it with your family or friends. Okay, let's move on to one last thing for today. This probably will take all of our time. And I do want to do this warm up because we've been all sort of doing our own thing for a bit. So I'm going to bring everyone to me. There's an animal shelter that has a petting room where you can go in and pet the cats to make them all happy, or at least the cats that want pets. It has 8 cats and 3 ottomans, and at the moment, all the cats are sitting on ottomans. There are 5 cats if you added together A and B. There are 7 cats if you added together B and C. So how many cats are on each of the ottomans? So go ahead and grab the cats and move them around and try and make that true. And you can talk to each other, say, I think we need more on A or something like that. Well, don't copy cats, there should only be 8 cats total. We're not having cat babies. Go away, do this, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whoops.
I know, it's tricky.
Okay, there we go. Don't copy the cats, just rearrange them. We have 5 on A and B, but we don't yet have 7 on B and C.
Okay, so.
Now we only have 4 on A and B.
Okay.
A and B are too crowded, we want only 5 total and we have 7 there. Now we got it. 1 plus 4 is 5 and 4 plus 3 is 7. Yay.
So how many is one cat?
This has to be 5 and this have to be 7.
I mean, I wish the teacher would just talk.
No, I don't wanna give it
Because the
away, it's a
teacher
warm-up
not
problem.
just be silent.
Sometimes I get to be silent.
Yes, you do, because you're a teacher and you're still lost in this hub.
Okay. Money, our very first task talked about how money was weird because you don't have to carry. Carrying is optional. If I move this wallet and I say there's $31 there, 10, 20, and then there's 11 ones. If I did this right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I do that right? No, we need one more one, okay. So this wallet had $31, but it didn't have 3 10s and 1 1. The way when we write 31, we have to write it 3 10s and 1 1. So money breaks the rules of how we write numbers sometimes, and that's okay. We also played with the base 10 blocks. And in a similar way, 205 was something that you could do with only 100 block, or maybe even no 100 blocks. So my question for you is, does this count as adding? When I look at the money in my wallet, am I adding it, even if I haven't counted it, to know how much I have, just because it's next to it, each other? Or do I have to like count it and know how much there is before I say I add it?
I think you have to count it before you can say you added it.
Okay, so either answer could make sense. I'm gonna say that for the purposes of this class, and this isn't again anything you'll find in a textbook, this is just sort of an agreement we're making for this class. That when we combine things, even if we don't regroup yet, then that does count as adding. So if I have $5 in my wallet and I put $4 in my wallet, then I've combined them, I've added them, I have $10. even if I don't count and say it's 10, or even if I don't exchange them for a $10 bill. And that's because we'll do some things that aren't money, whereas you just kind of have to do that. If I have half a cup of flour and half a cup of flour and I pour them in a bowl, I have a cup of flour, a whole cup. Whether or not I know it, it's there in the bowl. So realizing how much you have is nice. Combining things into a bigger group, like a $10 bill or a whole cup of flour could be nice. But I think we have to say that just combining counts as adding, even if it's not as finished as we would like. Okay, can we build these addition statements? Let me make sure I've locked those. Using either whatever you want, coins or bills or base 10 blocks. And we don't have to actually write an answer. We just need a pile of 35 and a pile of 26. And then we've combined them. We could count the total if we wanted, and we probably will, but we've still combined them. So if you're willing, pick one of the colored problems, top or middle or bottom. Pick to use coins or bills or blocks, whichever you want, and build that problem with your thing. And feel free to say, I'm gonna make the green 90, or I'm gonna make the blue 26, if you want to share a problem with someone.
I mean, it's not like a lot of us are trying to talk to each other, so it's.
No, it would be nice if you talk more, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm still talking, but no one else chooses to talk.
Yeah.
This makes poor communication, which makes poor problem solving skills, which makes this whole thing. Poor way to go about solving the problem.
Well, the nice part about talking, there's a wonderful book named Why We Sleep. Have you heard of that one?
No, because I have not read it, and if you have a free copy of it.
I don't.
More than willing to read it.
The library might. So Why We Sleep,
Well,
there it
instead of
is.
pointing me where to go, this.
That's all I can do. I'm not a book provider.
Actually, you're trying to teach math.
Yeah, but if you read the book, it talks a lot about learning. There's a lot of Why You Sleep is learning. And when you sleep, you move things from a short-term to long-term memory. And the reason that I like students to talk together is partly to solve problems more efficiently, but we aren't given any awards for efficiency, even if we are efficient. So mostly that it activates different parts of your brain when you're talking. So it's easier to move things from short-term to long-term memory if you've talked about them with someone, which should sound like it's kind of
You're
obvious.
obviously encouraging people talking.
I have no carrots or sticks.
Yes, so. What's the objective of you even talking about what you just talked about? There's that.
Because maybe people will start talking more if they realize, in real life, I do remember the things I talk about more. And I want to remember this.
That's what
The
people
GED.
try to now communicate instead of just do our own thing. I mean, am I the only one who's talking?
Often,
Yes. So maybe you should start encouraging people.
I kind of, but
Can anyone talk to me?
what color do you want to work on? I'll see if I can get someone to work on it with you.
Number green.
Green, okay. So if Gavin builds the 111, can someone build the 90? I'll do the blue, so if I can say, I don't need 100 for blue. I just need 35, so. Here's 10. Somebody help Gavin with the blue. He'll do 111. You do the 90. 31, 2, 3, 4. So I've made the 35. Someone else can make the 26.
I'll try doing the blue since no one else is gonna.
Okay, do 26 cents and then we'll have done the blue together. This might just be too much copying and pasting, because people who are on phones and tablets, it's not easy to copy and paste compared to those of us with a keyboard. Some activities just work better than others. And I can separate these out a little, whoops, so there's more of them. Oh, spread them out. Okay, so Gavin and I did 35 plus 26, and if we wanted, we could rearrange things, put the coins together. The dimes together. I kind of like making the X5 shapes from playing cards. And I can count by fives. So now we can see 35 and 26 is 50, 5, 10, and another one, so 61. I can do the 90, 10, 20, 30, 3 times. And, oh. That's not what I wanted. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is that 9? Did I do that right? 6, 7, 8. Oh, need another one. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So we could count that and say that it's 201. Because we would move this over to the other 90 and then we would get 100. But we don't have to know that.
Why don't we have to know that? Is there a specific reason behind that?
Because we're gonna talk about carrying very carefully in a moment. So I want people's brains to get used to the idea that combining is a step that happens before carrying. Because often we are so good at addition if we've done it before that we don't realize there's 2 steps happening. But I want to focus on that. Okay, that looks great. I think we need a few more 110s, but. There we go. Okay, ta-da. I'm gonna move on before we're done. So if you want, you could challenge people, make problems, have something to do at home. And this was a weird thing that I don't want to spend my last minute talking about. When I lived in Orleans, I would play all 5s, which Wikipedia called mulligans. And it has this weird notation for scoring. And I'm wondering if this counts as place value or not, but there's no right answer to this. It's just something interesting to talk about. So if any of you are dominoes fanatics, then we could talk about this next time. But basically, we finished our 11th to doodle. We will start Thursday on number 12. I want to offer again that the ones that you are looking at is the class copy that we all destroy together. Of course, I don't let you have the original copy because then I would have to remake it each turn, which would take forever. But if you want your own original copy to play with, to review what we've done or show your kids or whatever, I can make a copy of this very easy. Just like board, go make a copy. So the only person who has asked for that was Gavin. So if I go down, there's a copy just for him. If you want a copy of our thing, send me a text or email or tell me as we're finishing up. saying, yeah, that would be fun to have my own copy of all of this.
How do you get into your copy?
How do you get it? I sent you an email with a link to it, so I
So
can
you
do that.
just follow that.
Yeah, just follow that email.
Okay.
Okay, to review, if you haven't looked at the syllabus and welcome, please do that. We're finished with place value. Today we did all of rounding and estimating. So when we go to the videos, as soon as they get home, I will try and process a video, and at the top of this link, today's class video will be here. We also barely started on addition and subtraction, but we probably haven't done enough that you want to do the homework yet, unless you're very ambitious, which you can be. So that's where we are, and I'll send an email after class with that summary also, and a link to the video page of rounding and estimating, so you're not lost about where the textbook is. Today's video recorded, yes. I'll also put again the code for the nice textbook. So if you have lost that code and you want to log in, then you will be able to know what to type in there. Okay, anything else before I'll stop recording in case you have more sort of about me and grades and absences.